There we go. All right. It's important part of wellness is to care for yourself, right? See your doctors. And the way to do that is to have health insurance, right? So that was great information. Again, thank you for sharing. So good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Good.
Okay, I'm a walker, so I'm getting out of frame a lot, but it's good to be here. My name is Momplaisir. I am a training specialist, psychologist, author, what else? And some other things that I do, right? So we're going to talk about the power of self-management, okay? So now when you think about, here's the thing, I like conversation, okay? I know what Pierre did, that was great, okay? But I like engagement, right? So I want you to talk to me as I'm talking to you because I don't want to be the only one talking. Sounds good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so when you think of the power of self-management, what comes to mind? Discipline, okay. Yes.
Emotional intelligence or managing your emotions.
Managing emotions, emotional intelligence, absolutely. Anything else? I see you thinking.
I'm thinking.
Yes. I'll come back to you. But first, I want to say thank you for being here, really. I know it's kind of gross outside, but you didn't focus on that. You focused on yourself, and you chose to be here. So I really appreciate you for choosing to be here. And so when we think about the power of self-management, it's really how you manage your whole self, right? And so there are some papers. I want you to take some notes, okay? Write some notes because I'm going to share a lot. All right, so I want you to title this The Power of Self-Management. And I want you to create 3 columns, all right, for everyone. So one is going to be the mind, the body, and the spirit, okay? So I'll give you a moment to start jotting things down.
The doctor's giving us homework.
I'm giving you homework.
Is there a quiz?
The class work.
Is there a quiz?
Yeah, maybe. I want to see what you got, right? What you're walking away with. So there may be a little pop quiz at the end.
Mind, body, and
So mind, body, and spirit. Okay. So title it. The Power of Self-Management, and then create 3 columns. And under those 3 columns, I want you to write how. Okay. When, why, and what. So we have the power of self-management, then mind, body, and spirit, 3 columns. And under all 3, I want you to write why, what, when, and how. Sounds good? So your wellness is not a luxury. How many believe that? It's a requirement, right? You cannot say, you know what, I feel like being healthy. I'm going to buy some health. We cannot say that. It doesn't work that way, right? It's a requirement because when something becomes a requirement, it's extremely important. We need it. And so your wellness, whether it's your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, when all those 3 things they're not aligned, it affects your whole being. Your relationships, how you see yourself, how you interact with the people around you, right? And even how you manage your finances. Because if I'm in pain, do I feel good? I don't, right? If I'm in pain, am I gonna be loving and kind and joyful with the people around me? Probably not. That can be a hard thing to do, right? So when we talk about your body, right? So your body is your energy, your physical being, right? So everything is inside this physical body. It's a lot to carry. It's a lot to protect, right? And when we think about your mind, your mental health, your emotional well-being. And then when those things are not how they're supposed to be, they're not healthy. Again, it affects your relationships. It affects the way you see yourself, the way you feel about yourself, right? And when we talk about the spiritual well-being, we're not, I don't want to make it religious. That's not what it's about, right? We're talking about your energy, your values, what life means to you, right? How you see things around you. So let's focus on the mind, okay? If you don't take care of your mind, what do you think happens? I know you said emotional intelligence earlier, right? So if we don't know how to manage our emotions, what happens?
Road rage
Your
is an
body.
example of not managing.
Yeah?
There's something that's, when you take the train and you just bump someone accidentally.
You get triggered,
Yeah.
right? You said something
Conflict
earlier.
resolution, yeah.
I was saying your body starts to dwindle.
Your body starts to dwindle because the mind dictates how we respond to our environment, right? It dictates how we respond to others, to anything external. So now if our mind is not under control, we're not being intentional with how we process the things that we are receiving from our environment, from our friends, our family. I'm trying not to walk out of frame, right? We can project unto others who we are, what we're feeling. Because those things are not necessarily based on other people. If somebody bumps into you, they don't know you. It's not because they don't like you. But if our mind is in that space of it was on purpose, guess what? We respond that way, right? And so we have to take care of our mental and emotional health because, again, that is what is important. So now, under mind, right? Under that column, I asked you to write why, when, what, and how. Okay? So when you get into a space, let's say you're in a relationship, right? I want you to ask yourself, and again, this is part of being intentional with yourself and those around you, right? What you do, how you feel, right? So in every situation that requires you to use your mind, I want you to ask yourself, what am I experiencing? Right? Write that down. What am I experiencing where there's this relationship? In this interaction with this person, what am I experiencing? Right? And why am I experiencing it? So let's say I'm walking down the street, okay? So under why, let's say you're walking down the street and somebody looks at you the wrong way. I don't know what the wrong way is, but let's say somebody looks at you as if they don't like you. They've never seen you before, right? They don't know you. They've never seen you before. And if they look at you and you feel triggered because you believe that they don't like me or they see something in me that I am insecure about, I want you to ask yourself, why do you feel that way? Right? Why do you feel that way? Because again, that person doesn't know you. They don't know me. They've never seen me before. Why do I believe that they see something that I don't like in me? Maybe they're going through their own stuff, right? So now, I want you to ask yourself again, how am I experiencing this moment? Let's talk about you're in a relationship, right? Friends, spouse, children, right? Doesn't matter, okay? So when you in that moment, let's say you're having a disagreement, things are not going, favorably in your direction, and you feel like the world is against me, or this person doesn't really get me. How am I experiencing this interaction, this moment, right? And when you ask yourself that, analyze it, sit with it. Right? Don't just ask it and then just move on. Sit with it. Right? And then when you get to that point, right? So we said the when, the why, the how. Did we say the when? No, we didn't say when yet. Okay? You got to keep me in check. All right? Keep me in check. So when, right? So let's talk about when. So again, if you're in that moment, right? Something happens and you're feeling a certain way, which we're still talking about the mind, asking yourself, when have I experienced that same feeling I'm feeling right now? And this is to analyze and figure out, when do I get triggered by certain things? Because life doesn't happen, or we don't behave in single moments, right? We are, habitual people, human beings, right? Creatures. We create patterns. Okay? So when we analyze the when, then we can understand this happens, right? I get triggered when someone said this. I get triggered when this happened. I get triggered when somebody looks at me like this. I get triggered when whatever, right? So when you understand that, you can sit with it and then say, wow, okay, you know what? This happens last week. I was having a conversation with my spouse, with my children, and then I felt this way. Why? I'm feeling the same feeling again this week. So you have to analyze it. Why is that happening? Sit with it. Ask yourself what, why, when, and how you're experiencing it. And then what are you going to do about it, right? What are you going to do after you ask yourself all those questions? Again, sit with it. Be honest with yourself. Then what are you going to do about it? If you keep experiencing the same things over and over again, right? Patterns, right? It's about you. Yes? Again, I'm not judging, okay? This is not to judge anyone. This is to convict you, okay? If I'm experiencing the same patterns over and over again, I got to do something. Yes? So now, why is the mind so important? We're going to talk about unity in a little bit, right? Everybody's talking about peace. I want peace. I want to be at peace, right? But if somebody cuts me off on the road, I'm ready to cut them, literally. I'm ready to run them over, but I still want peace. Doesn't work that way, right? And so we have to understand how everything works together. When we talk about the mind, the body, and the spirit, how they work together if we want to create this unity within ourselves. And so the mind is your internal homeostasis. If anything goes off, I get triggered. If I interpret this the wrong way, then I behave in that way. If I understand this way, then it makes me feel this way. If I talk to someone this way, then I gotta leave that interaction, that conversation, getting home and still feeling this way, because what I put out is what I receive, right? The way I talk to people, and you can leave a conversation and that person may not even be thinking about you, but because what you give, if I have to be mean to somebody, right? Mentally, something is not quite what it needs to be. Right? If I interpret, if I receive something in a negative way, it's about me. Because think about it. If you're walking down the street and someone says, what's your name? Mildew. Milto. Someone says, Karen. Would you answer? That's not your name. Right? And so if somebody looks at me and they have a perceived understanding of who I am, doesn't matter to me as long as I know who I am, right? That's their understanding of me. So again, my goal right now is for you to understand who you are. mind, body, and spirit. Okay? And that's where the self-management comes in. Now, we're going to switch over to the body, okay? How many of you would say you eat healthy?
You need help?
You eat healthy.
Oh, eat healthy.
Yeah.
Oh.
What does that look
Wow.
like? What does that look like? What's healthy eating?
It looks to me like I balance my protein, my carbs, and
Okay.
my fat. I
Okay.
eat balance. I make sure I have no excess of anything.
Good.
You know, plenty of vegetables, plenty of fruit.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
plenty of fluid, rest.
Absolutely. What's your idea of healthy eating?
Well, for me, at this point in my life, eating healthy is because I have the knowledge.
Right.
But for me, eating healthy at this point is thinking about what I eat before I eat it, when I eat it. Because
Okay.
you can have the knowledge,
Yeah.
but it's actually applying it.
Absolutely. That's
So
when it
for
becomes
me,
wisdom, right?
That's where I'm at, thinking before.
Good. Now, let's go back to the when, the how, the why, and the what. Not your body. Any questions in here? I'm not going to preach, I promise. Any questions? All right. That's okay. That's okay. So here's the thing, right? So for me, as a Christian, the Bible says your body is a temple. Do you believe that? Do you believe your body encompasses all of your organs, mind, spirit, energy, all of that, right? If your body's unhealthy, what happens to everything that it holds?
Unbalanced.
Right? There's a lot of imbalance. And so, here's the thing. Write down, okay? If I'm thinking about how I'm caring for my body, right? Let's say food, right? They always say you are what you eat, right? So I want you to, under that what am I feeding my body? Could be drinks, could be food, right? It could be, what else? Just the way you treat yourself, right? It could be the conversations, the people you're allowing to pour into you, right? That's feeding your body too. So now, with the how am I feeding my body? Why is that important? I can do the right thing. I can eat the right thing, but if it's not done the right way, is it right? It's not right. I can eat chicken, but if I keep eating fried chicken, is that healthy? It's not, right? So the how is important because that can affect the outcome. It can affect the outcome. And the when. When do I feed my body? And that can be the environment. It can be the selection. We'll talk about nutrition in a little bit, right? We'll talk about nutrition soon. So when do I feed my body? Does it matter? Do I care about my body? If I want to feel good, if I want to have energy, if I understand, I shouldn't wait until I'm starving to feed my body. Because again, starvation or not doing it when you're supposed to, that's abuse. Can we agree with that? If I'm not feeding my body when it's asking me to feed it, or if I'm not creating a system that actually is allowing my body to thrive, am I abusing my body? No, it's a big word.
So is fasting abusing your body also?
Not quite. Here's the thing about fasting. Here's the thing about the when. We create system. And that's one thing I'm going to talk about, right? So when you fast, you don't fast today and don't fast tomorrow. Because if you do it that way, it's not healthy. Right? So if I'm creating a system where I know I'm fasting for 2 weeks, there has to be consistency. So here's the thing. Anything that is not consistent is imbalance. Yes?
Yes.
If it's not consistent, then your body will not get used to it. then you're mistreating your body, because your body has to figure out, what am I doing? When am I getting this? Right? Think about a relationship. Let's say you're in a relationship, and there's a lot of instability. There's a lot of inconsistency. Is that a healthy relationship? I mean, that will wreck your nervous system. Right? So your body goes through the same thing. If I'm choosing to fast, intermittent fasting, fasting for 40 days, fasting for 2 weeks, I'm making that choice, and I have to be consistent with it. Right? Because if I'm not, then my metabolism is going to go out of whack, because it won't know when you're going to feed it. So I have to reserve whatever you feed me right now, because I don't know when I'm going to get the next meal. Right? So fasting is not abuse, but not being consistent is. Right? The same way, if I'm eating too much, right? If I'm eating too frequently, again, that's abuse. There's no balance. I'm not giving my body time to process whatever I'm giving it, right? I'm not giving my body time to digest what I'm giving it. That's, again, over driving your body. That's unhealthy, right? Why am I feeding my body this? Why is that important? If you have a premium car, luxury car, right? And you go to the gas station, you use 87, right? Regular gas. What do you think happens? After 5 times,
Car gets sluggish.
car starts jerking, and right? Engines start getting messed up, losing power, right? So now, think about your body. Here's the thing. I'm Haitian. Okay, I grew up in Haiti, right? The way I used to eat in Haiti is completely different from the way I eat here, because we don't have the same quality of food, right? So now I have to be extra intentional with what I eat, because I understand, like, what I'm eating right now, it's not really nourishing my body. So if I'm choosing to put all this junk, all this crap into my body without being intentional, without being selective, why? Right? If I eat, let's say I have dinner, right? I finish eating dinner, then I'm like, man, I need a nap. Was that a good food? Good meal?
No. Yeah.
Was it a good meal? When you get the itis, right? Is that what they call it? You get the itis? That's not a good meal. It may have been good, but my body's not processing it. So it's the same analogy. If I put regular gas in a premium car, the car is not going to perform at its best, right? So your body is that same dynamic as that car. Your body is premium. It only comes in one model, premium, right? So if you're not selective with what you feed it, and asking yourself, why am I feeding my body this? Then there's no sense of direction. There's no purpose.
There's no equilibrium.
There's no equilibrium. Right. So the thing is with, what you said, what's your name? Richie, right? The thing that Richie said, right? Equilibrium, balance, right? Yeah, you almost forgot your name?
I didn't know he was here.
So the thing with balance, right? And nothing is perfect. And I'm not saying anything I'm saying right now to say you always gonna be on point. Life doesn't work that way. I'm not saying you can't eat a donut. Okay? I'm not saying you're not gonna have a negative thought. That's not real. Right? Not saying that. But here's the thing though. what is your foundation? What's the base? If I don't have a foundation, guess what? I will choose everything. Right? Because I'm not gonna know if I add this. Let's say you have a house. I love analogies, okay? As you can see. Let's say you have a house. If my foundation is not strong, if it wasn't created to have an extra floor on top of it, can I add an extra floor?
No.
I can't, right? The base will crack and everything will crumble down. So now, imagine if you don't have a foundation for what you feed your body. If I just choose whatever, then guess what? Eventually your body's gonna crumble. But if I know, I eat 3 things. Don't judge me, okay? I only eat 3 things. Well, as my foundation, right? I only eat seafood, okay? Not saying meat is bad, but that's just my choice, right?
What kind of seafood?
Fish. Salmon, right?
I eat seafood too, whatever I see.
What? not that kind of seafood, right? Again, I'm not saying meat is bad, right? Portion, selection, timing, right? Those things are important. So for me, the reason why I started doing that was because I wanted to feel different, right? I wanted to see what makes me feel better, what makes my body feel better, right? So the point is, if I don't have that foundation, if I don't have those 3 things, and listen, when I go out, or if I'm eating at home, I know I eat salmon, I know I eat oatmeal, love oatmeal, right? And I know I eat some rice with the vegetables, right? The vegetables are the added layers, right? And the fruits, right? But as far as the meal, like I know the oatmeal, the salmon, the rice, then the extra stuff, right? The greens, the fruits, right? But the foundation is those 3 things. So now, doesn't mean that I can't have a muffin, but I'm not gonna have a muffin every day, because then it becomes the foundation, right? So you can have that foundation, but you can still add, a chair, right? You add a table, right? But those are not foundational, right? Those are not the ones keeping you standing, right? The chair, the table, the TV, those are just added layers. And you got to start asking yourself, are those things important? Right? Do I need those things? Do I need a table that holds 12 people? Right? Do I need to go buy that extra donut? I'm saying donuts all the time, but it could be anything, whatever right, you like, right? The sugary or anything that's processed, right? Do I need to have that? What does it do for me? Why am I getting it? Right? Where are we? So, love you. How am I feeding my body? And that's important because, again, that awareness. How am I doing it? Like I said earlier, you can eat chicken, but if I'm eating fried chicken every day, my arteries clogged. Triglycerides over the roof. Cholesterol insane, right? High blood pressure. And so I have to ask myself, how am I doing it? If I'm drinking water, whatever it is, alcohol, right? How am I doing it? Am I overdoing it? Right? Am I underdoing it? That's all the how. That's important.
I have a question.
Talk to me.
Very important question.
Yes.
Because I'm assuming that most people know how to eat healthy, or they need to be healthy.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you cook at home?
I do.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
Because because I'm active.
Right.
If I eat, I probably wind up eating maybe around 1 p.m.
Okay.
and maybe another meal 7-ish,
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have an elderly mother at home, 92 years old, heart failure, not doing well.
Mhm.
I know she has to eat right.
Right.
Okay. How do you eat right when there's nothing around you to serve you the right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna buy right, let's say fruits, vegetables, it has to be almost on a daily basis.
Right.
Because fruit don't last but 2-3 days, vegetables don't last but 2-3 days. So you're constantly spending,
Right.
spending,
Right.
spending, and
Yeah.
not everybody can do that.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're hungry, so the first thing you do, the quick, Domino's, or the closest thing
Right.
just to feed that hunger.
Yeah.
How does a person like that, and I'm saying the majority of us, because look at the world today. We were
Yeah.
looking the other day at the 70s disco and the party, and back in the days, you didn't see nobody overweight.
Right.
All the artists, all the
Very
dancers,
few.
all the
Yeah,
singers,
yeah.
everybody was bell bottoms, long legs,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
stomach.
Right.
Back then we were very active. I guess we didn't have social media. We went to places.
Right.
You know, when I fit like Richie parties every week.
Yeah.
You know, but how do we do that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question. But I hope your mom gets better.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, she's maintaining.
Good. Good. That's a good question. But let me ask you something. Why do you think early in the 70s and the 60s we didn't have the level of obesity and lifestyle diseases that we have today?
The quality of food was
Qua-
much better.
Okay, quality of
Much
food.
better, yeah.
Okay, okay,
And there was more physical activity.
absolutely.
We
Right?
don't have all this processed foods either.
Didn't have all this processed food.
Accessible to us everything and all day and out.
Right.
And I guess when these big companies figured out, you know what, we could put this in the food and entice them and make more money, they started putting the poison in their foods, and
Yeah.
then we were buying it because it tastes good, made us feel good.
Right.
Addicted.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, quick question, okay? How do you feel about you?
Half and half.
Okay. So that's important, right? If my belief is my body is a temple, if my belief is I only have one body, if my belief is I want to feel this way, right? If my belief is I am in control of me, I choose how to treat me, can I still be intentional and selective with what I eat?
You try to be, I suppose.
Again, the belief, right? Because one thing you have to understand, culture drives habits, right? And oftentimes, especially in our communities, the government drives the culture. Organizations, society drive the culture.
The churches.
The churches, yes. I'm doing workshops with churches too, because they're not helping us, right? So that's when you have to ask yourself, who am I? Right? Who do I want to be? And why? Because you have to find out your because. What's important to you? I'm doing this because I want to feel this way. I'm doing this because I want to experience this. Because nothing is ever going to be easy. Right? I wish it was. I wish it was. I'd be a millionaire by now. I'm not. Right? Yes.
It's funny you said nothing would be easy.
Yeah.
I think another problem that we're having balancing nowadays in society is everyone wants to look good,
Right.
of course, but so many people now are focused more on looking good, and I have nothing wrong with tweaking,
Right.
tweaking,
Yeah.
but I think so many people are so focused on just looking good,
Right.
and now other people are looking at them as a role model, not knowing this person has done this,
Right.
has done this,
Right.
they're using certain apparatus to.
Enhance
So you're
certain things.
looking
Yeah.
at that person, you're like, wow, he or she is so healthy.
Yeah.
Not realizing that person is only focusing on the outside.
Yeah.
Their insides can be in total turmoil.
Right.
So I think that's also a problem that we're having is so many people are idolizing people based upon how they look
Right.
and not understanding what's going on
Internally.
in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's it's finding the balance between
Yeah.
looking good, feeling good,
And being
actually
good.
being healthy.
Absolutely. Right.
So when you said the easy,
Yeah.
I think so many people are really going the easy route.
And so that's a great point, right? I guarantee you it's not easy. Even if you take that quick route. It's quick, right? But it's not easy. Why? When you feel like, here's the thing, everybody's beautiful, right? You are created the way you are created. That's just what it is. Now, the way you take care of you is what matters. Because again, we can say beauty is subjective. Because you can look at someone and say, this person is attractive, is beautiful. And then somebody else looks at them and say, yeah, right? And somebody else looks at them and says, no, that's horrendous, right? It's subjective. So when I talk about culture, drives, behaviors, and patterns, and so again, that's when I ask, who are you? Right? Because you cannot resist what you can't understand. Right? So if I know who I am, I know what I want to experience. And so for me, again, speaking as a Christian, I understand that God created me the way he did. And there's nothing I can do about that. I've accepted that. Right? Personal belief. So even if you don't believe in God, who are you? What do you believe in? How do you see yourself? Because the world is confused. Society is in chaos. Who are you? How are you experiencing the chaos?
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
What's the role of the community in what you're saying right now?
Yeah.
What's the role of the community in recognizing the stresses
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of all this chaos that
Yeah.
you spoke about? For
Yeah.
instance, you have the food industry, which is what we're talking about,
Right.
so far as diet is
Mhm.
concerned, that has a vested interest not in our well-being.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
So therefore, what we need to do
Yeah.
is the education that you're doing. And I think as a whole, the community is also responsible for creating that self that
Right.
you're talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It-
That's a
it's
good point.
funny you said that. Can I? Yeah, it's funny you said that because as you were speaking, I just jotted a little something down.
Yeah.
And I love Fuaxa. Okay, I
Yeah.
live and breathe Fuaxa. And then, and I wrote down that at Fuaxa, we feed your soul, your spirit, and guide you in taking care of your body so that we can achieve a healthy, focused, successful life full of vigor and energy. So as a community
Yeah.
organization,
Right.
yeah, we look at helping you to fulfill
Right.
and become your best self.
Absolutely. And so one thing I would say, right? It's great, right? You can applaud. That's great. That's great. And one thing I would say, right? We have to define community. Right? We can have people,
Yeah.
but not necessarily communities, right? So when you have Fuaxe, right? That's a community because we're building together. We have one vision, one purpose, one mission, right? That's a community. But if you have individuals cohabitating, that's not necessarily a community, right? Because we all have our own culture. The way I operate at my home is different from the way somebody who lives next door operates in their home. And so when that happens, I can't influence you because I believe I have my differences, I have my ways, and they're the best. Right? And if you believe that too, can we influence each other?
Absolutely.
We can't. right? Because again, we have our own ways. We don't have a collective approach to doing things. We don't. And one thing that is concerning and sadden me a bit when I wrote my first book, Strong Women, Fed Up Men, Defeated Sons, Broken Daughters, Healing Generational Pain, right? I started doing workshops in libraries, different communities. The book is written for Black people. Guess who showed up? Not Black people, right? So we have to understand, okay, we have a lack of almost everything, right? We don't have the knowledge. And even if we do, we reject it because it doesn't fit our own criteria and belief system, right? We have our own understanding of what life should be, and that can be individualized, right? And so when we have that, we're not going to see value in the collective. And that's dangerous, right? And even if we have unhealthy patterns and behaviors, again, we normalize different things because we prioritize different things.
You said earlier, with the system,
Yeah.
with consistency,
Right.
that's when we can make the change. So if we're blowing with the wind, we'll be all over the place. We won't come to places like
No.
this because, you know what, something else just came up. We don't have a system in place.
Right.
We don't have any consistency in our lives. So we're all over the place. So
Yeah.
therefore, will it ever come together?
Different priorities. No, we're not.
No, it's
We're
going to be a
not.
scattered puzzle.
Right. And which is why what you guys are doing here at Free Access is important because, again, you creating a system, a community, a foundation where people can come in and say, you know what? I know the purpose. I know why you guys are doing this. And I can align with it, right? I can get with this because you're helping people. And that's what I want. I want to help people. I want to be help.
Actually, I can't help anyone,
Yeah.
but I can help you to help yourself.
I know, absolutely, absolutely. I'm saying like assisting
So
people in
yeah,
assisting
we're giving
themselves.
people
The
the
tools.
The tools
Yep. Mhm.
to help
We
themselves.
can help each other. It's not so. When we have our meetings, our gatherings, no more donuts and no more pizza. Let's eat healthy now.
Get celeries and
Share
carrots.
that around, right? That's
I,
it.
no, I have to say though, like yesterday with a gathering of friends, I
Yeah.
like to make sure that there's something sweet to
Right.
eat.
That's
right?
fine.
You know, so I bought that, but yesterday I bought a dried strawberry.
Yeah.
It was really good. And I don't normally eat this stuff
Right.
with
Right.
white chocolate around it and some
Yeah.
crystals
Yep.
that pop in your brain with
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
And Marco was like, "Stop eating that thing," you know what I mean? And I had to stop myself
Right,
from eating it.
right, yeah.
But I'm like, I don't do it all the time.
Right.
It was a dried strawberry.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, gotta watch it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then we looked out for one another.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Community.
Yeah.
Community, right?
Yeah.
And again, remember, like that's just the tables and chairs, right?
Right.
That's not what you eat at home all the time.
No, absolutely
Foundation,
not.
right? And so again, you have to ask yourself, if I go somewhere and I'm, snacking on some dried strawberries with chocolate, it tastes good. Is this something I do consistently? Right?
That bag's gonna be gone for a year
If-
now. Okay, it's done.
Right. So again, having that foundation, being aware and knowing your foundation is important because nothing can derail your path, your purpose. I can look left and right, but guess what? I'm still moving. Right? I can take a peek behind me. Guess what?
Still moving.
I still understand the assignment, the purpose, right? So it's important, even when we talk about the community or the culture is not conducive to healthy lifestyle. Who are you? Who am I? What do I want to experience?
Yes.
How do I want to experience it? When do I want to experience it? Why do I want to experience this, right? Let's talk about the spirit. Again, I'm not talking about the spirit as in spiritual, religious beliefs, right? I'm talking about inner well-being, alignment, right? And what you value in your life and what's meaningful to you. Right? Have you ever heard somebody says, this person has a bad spirit. It's not necessarily a religious statement. It's just the way you show up. Right? The way you perceived or the way you
Bad
interact.
energy.
Bad energy, right?
Say.
Yeah,
It's like you said earlier, what I put out, what you put out is what you receive.
exactly. Because you're already feeling it. If I'm angry at someone, right? So let's say somebody steps on my foot unintentionally or intentionally, right? The way I respond to it is all me, right? You put out what you have inside of you. If I'm an angry person, you step on my foot, guess what you're gonna get? Anger, right? If I'm an understanding person, you step on my foot, guess what you're gonna get? Understanding. I may try to understand what happened, right? Or I may alert you. You step on my foot, give you a chance to apologize, right? Or even if you don't, I can say, you know what? Maybe you ain't got nothing to lose. I'm out of here. I'm not gonna risk me for someone who doesn't have anything to lose, right? Again, what do you want to experience? Who are you? And so when we talk about the spirit, what is valuable to you?
I'd just like to comment a little bit.
Yes.
Last night, when we, this seminar here, this is one of our signature products.
Yeah.
We also have Generational Love Talks, which
Yes.
runs once a month. And last night was really interesting because one of the questions was, when did you recognize your purpose in life? And let me tell you, a lot of people have to really think about this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when was it that I actually woke up within myself? So this is really cool that you're even
Yeah.
touching on this.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you how interconnected all of this
Right.
work is.
Absolutely. And it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
Your whole being is connected. Everything you do is connected. We're connected. Because if I do something in my environment, it affects others too. Right? And so we're connected. And even the purpose, right? The purpose conversation. It's really why. And one thing that many of us struggle with, why am I here? I wake up, I eat, I go to work, I sleep. Then what?
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's the purpose.
And a lot of people get depressed because they don't have the answer to that question.
Feel useless.
They feel useless. And oftentimes people get anxiety and depression and anger and all the negative emotions, right? Because they don't know why.
That's when you have to find your because.
You have to find your because, right? Like I'm here
What
because.
do you have to find?
Your because.
Your because.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what is a because?
Yeah.
Tell us. You can tell us.
What is that, Richard?
Like you have to find like your inner self, your own spiritual
Yeah.
guidance.
Yep.
Like finding your purpose.
So essentially, it's finding your why for everything, right? If I'm having a conversation, the reason for why you do everything you do, right? Yeah. Don't be shy. You're saying good stuff. You're saying good stuff,
Good stuff.
right?
and that's part of finding your purpose and being
Yeah.
you, right? It's being
Yeah.
to express yourself.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
you are important.
Yeah.
Your body's your temple, your mind is important, you are important.
All of it.
So
All
speak
of
it.
Yes. All of it. Yeah. And even a simple conversation. I don't waste my time having meaningless conversation because words are powerful and I can't afford to waste words. Right? So when I do something, there's intention behind it. If I go somewhere, there's intention behind it. It's just a waste. Right? And part of that is getting to a space where you don't feel like, if I don't do this, I'm missing out. Or if I don't do this, then I'm not going to fit in. If I don't do this, then people are not going to like me. If I don't do this, then I have no purpose. No. what is the meaning behind it? Right? How does it affect your spirit? If I'm hanging out with, sorry, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, I'm listening.
Okay.
That's probably-
Right, so so if I'm hanging out with a group of people, how do they benefit my spirit? Right? If I'm building relationships with people, how does that relationship benefit my spirit? Because oftentimes we're not projecting or experiencing who we are, we're experiencing other people, who they are. Because we don't understand ourselves.
Your energy.
You're draining your energy. You're losing yourself. Right?
Using what?
Using your power. Draining your energy.
Yeah. Yes.
Something. I think I need it, but okay. It's funny. You asked me if I was saying something.
Yeah.
Something that came to my mind regarding what we were saying in terms of community. I think it's community and now social norms and with the spirit. Something I find. Have you ever heard the expression somebody will say, "That's my bitch resting face"?
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Yeah.
And I remember there's someone we were in a group, and she had this look on her face. And I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "Oh, I'm fine. That's my bitch resting face." And it's like, instead of somebody saying I'm deep in thought, I'm okay, now the norm is I have a bitch resting face.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's so toxic to me.
Yeah.
You know, you want to walk around saying that your face at rest or your normal face is your bitch resting face.
Or you're not elevating yourself. That's not elevation
It's
for
not.
yourself. It's
Yeah,
not,
it's
you know.
not my bitch. And this is she has a great personality.
Yeah.
I know her, successful person, but this is my bitch resting face.
Mhm.
I'm like.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we wonder why so many women are running. I'm just saying,
Right.
running around single. Huh? That's your normal face, is your bitch resting face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just saying to myself, that's not positive.
We take.
And that's again to say where society
Yeah.
and where community is going, that you think it's normal to walk
Mhm.
around with a screw face.
Yeah.
Words
But what-
matter, like you
Words
said.
matter.
Did
Yeah.
you ask her, what do you mean by that?
Oh no,
What is
because
a
it's
bitch resting face?
it's
Like is she portraying that don't mess with me? Talking about
no,
make this
she
face?
just it was a you know something called National Night Out. It was a national night out, so it's a
Okay.
very festive environment.
She went
and
to a
she was
festive
there,
environment,
and
but
she
didn't
was-
want nobody messing with her.
No, she was deep in thought.
Right.
Is what it is.
Right. So the other day, I was doing a
But I was
workshop.
concerned.
Yeah,
Her
yeah.
response was
No,
very
it's a thing, right? And sadly, it's a thing within our community.
But words are
Right.
powerful.
Words are powerful, right? But we are taking on the world's identity, the culture's identity, right? So I was doing a crisis prevention intervention workshop at Mount Sinai, right, the other day, and I asked a question, right? So it was for behavioral health employees, and so I asked a question, and one young lady looked like she didn't want to be there, right? So to me, she didn't want to be there, right? So I asked her a question. Say, hey, how you doing? You know, but is there anything I can do to make to make you feel more comfortable? She said, no, that's just my face. That's just how I am, which is fine, right? And then she said, usually people tell me I have a resting face, right? So the thing is, look, there's nothing wrong with who you are. If that's your personality, you're not a cheery person, that's fine. But to your point, we take on identity that don't belong to us. Because it's a saying, it's a trendy saying. That's my resting face, right?
But that word "be" has never been paired with anything positive.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Again, we take on identity when we don't know who we are. Yes.
Yeah, but I think now as society evolves, a lot of the negativity, as you attested earlier to the 70s of how you look, how you dress, but now I think the difficulties and the deficiencies
Yeah.
and the vulgarity has been normalized.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it's problematic.
It is. It is. And again, when we have a society, right, that doesn't know who they are,
Just like the standards.
right, we're floating. To your point earlier, when you don't understand what your values are, what's meaningful to you, you don't have that foundation, you're floating. And society is an ever evolving, I don't know what to call it, right? And so when you don't have a sense of purpose, you're not grounded in something substantial, guess what? You're always gonna float everywhere. And whatever's trending, that becomes your identity. Whatever somebody else is popularizing, then that becomes who you are. Right? I was talking to a young lady, right? I used to work for New York City Health and Hospital. And she would come to work, again, professional setting, her fingernails would be this long. Right? And her supervisor would talk to her, and I was a lead trainer for that department, and so they would send people for me to coach them. So I'm having a conversation with her. She was like 24, and I'm asking her, what do the long nails mean to you? She says, well, that's just who I am. I'm expressing my personality. And I'm like, well, were you born with these nails? Right? But like, when did you decide that this was gonna be your personality and who you are? I said, but it's cool. That's just, it's a cool thing to do, and I feel good when I have them. But who taught you? That's what should make you feel good. Right? So you have to analyze the foundation for your behaviors. And even when we talk about childhood traumas, even when we talk about our own patterns now as adults, because certain things we're not gonna understand where they came from. Subconscious mind, right? I do this workshop on emotional intelligence. How the subconscious mind, the heart, is connected to the brain. Because when you store something in your subconscious mind, in your heart, it becomes part of you. And you will not know where that came from. But it will drive anything that's triggering to you. Anything that you don't understand. And so you have to ask yourself, when you can identify, right? When you can identify an unhealthy behavior, something that triggers you, you got to ask yourself, why? Why am I triggered? Somebody said something and suddenly I'm upset. Why? Right?
Why?
Why? I'm asking you.
That
Right?
Why?
goes back again to what you said. What you put out is what you
It's who you are.
is, right? And
Right.
so if you understand that positivity begets positivity,
Mm-hmm.
negativity begets negativity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you'll
Yeah.
understand that if you continue to do this, this is what you're going to get. What they say, that what you do some of the time is what you do all of the time.
Right. Right.
But let me ask you
Check
something.
yourself.
Yes.
It's like this brother. I'm sorry, your name?
Patrick?
Patrick. And I'm asking the audience, why was these, I don't know if it's deviant, why was it normalized? Why was those standards that we had that were so, and there was a movement with that.
Yeah. Anything
And
specific
that
you're referring to?
movement Was,
You talking about rap?
no, I'm not talking about rap. I'm talking
Okay, that's
about
part of the
what
movement.
Patrick, what you said back in the 70s. Go ahead, say what you said. You just said.
I'm not going to get very wonky, but I think the synopsis is, I'll go back. I'll say America is a great country.
Yeah.
But there's a double-edged sword, and we have to filter what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
Like you said, you're from Haiti, okay? Haitians, okay? it's already been dictated to you who you what standards the bourgeois who you should like, who you shouldn't like. When we talk about food and food insecurities, you know, back in the 80s, we had a crackdown on the cigarette companies. Stop smoking so you don't see the Marlboros and all of that. But all those scientists transferred into the food industry, and now they just polluted our food. And you know, McDonald's, they sell about 6 million burgers a day, but you don't see cars around the neighborhood. So everything is processed. So it's just the information that they give us.
Yeah.
Eat this, eat that, drink 8 cups of water a day. Okay, fine. But now we're drinking because they put more fluoride in it, so now we get sick. So you got the pharmaceutical companies on the sidelines getting ready to over-medicate us. So there's a lot of inconsistencies that they drive the narrative. You have to be smart enough to maneuver to see what the BS is.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a war.
the system is rigged.
Right.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a war, and no matter what we do, every maybe 2 decades or whatever, the people rise, and then they slack off. The 60s was free love, music, everybody loved each other. The 70s was a little spin-off of that, but we had romantic music. You know, and we danced together, we roller skated together. The 80s started to fade out a little bit. The love started dwindling a little bit. But the music was still decent. The 90s when hard rap came in, and you know, artists that had beautiful R&B music weren't allowed to produce their music, and they just bombarded you with negativity, twerking, breasts, clothes, but that's all. That's all we see. That's all we know. Our kids.
And your points are very foundational, and for the most part, they are correct. And it is by design, because in the 90s, I remember in the 80s, and I was watching a Cosby show in A Different World, and I was in high school. It's like, I want to be like that. I'm going to go to college, and I had the best time of my life in the 80s in college, and 90s, and so on and so forth. But like you said, around 91, 92, with the music, it changed.
Yep.
Because something came
Right.
of it, which was the
Gangster rap.
the private
You know.
prisons,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed new clientele,
Mm-hmm.
and they got together with the music moguls,
Yeah.
and they said, "Yo, the new artists, this is what we want you
Exactly.
Right.
to promote. You
Yeah,
know, bitches ain't shit and blah 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 blah, shooting up, and we had all this violence. So now you started seeing the clothing, how the girls look and the guys look, and you had the Biggies and the Tupacs and the Jay-Z. So that was not an accident. But if you look at, you know, prior how the music was with the rap, it was real cool and just, you know, the Fresh Prince, so on and so forth. Then we have these rappers, we can't even understand what the hell they're saying.
Yeah.
So it's by design.
Yeah. So you know, so my first book, I go into a little bit of you know, the slave history, right? The system that was created for us, whether you from the Caribbean, right, or you're here in America as an African descent person, there was a system that was created for us. So my goal is to always start here, right? We can't change the system. Let's just be honest, right? And even if we can, it's not going to happen tomorrow, right? So we have to start with ourselves first, our homes, right? The household, circle of influence, circle of control, right? Then we start with maybe our neighbors. Can I inspire? Can I empower my neighbors? Right? Can I keep my home healthy? Can I inspire my home? Right? And that starts with you. Because if you're not in a good space mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, guess what? Can I really inspire people to do good if I'm not doing good? I mean, I don't think so. Yes.
I think in reference to what you're saying with yourself, self-awareness, knowing what you want.
Right.
I think that's a great point that you said, because we're always going to live, we're never going to be in an island by ourselves.
Right.
So we do have to be very mindful and conscious of what we want and what is our expectation. And I think that a problem that sometimes people can come across with that is when you do try to attempt to communicate where you're at, or you try to communicate your observations or what with other people.
Right.
Now their feeling is, oh, you're being so negative. No, we're communicating.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, so I find that sometimes I have friends that I'm no longer friends with, because if I notice, everyone has problems, and we have to be able to communicate and talk about our problems.
Absolutely.
But if I find every time you're calling me, it's something negative, it's a problem, it's derogatory, and we discuss it, I unfortunately reach a place where now I no longer have to, I'm not communicating with you anymore.
Right.
Because I agree with you, it's very important that we are mindful of ourselves, because we cannot change people, but we can control ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that is a part of wellness, is being mindful of who we let in and how we react to
Absolutely.
others.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't control other people, but you can control yourself.
Right. Right. That's a really good point. So what's your name again? Sabine? Sabine,
Oh,
right?
Sabine.
Sabine, okay, got it. That's a really good point, Sabine. And here's the thing that we have to consider when it comes to other people, right? All of us have to go through certain prerequisites in order to be ready for the next level. What does that mean? If I keep repeating the same relationships, right, there's a lesson I'm not learning. And you can tell someone, this person is bad for you. This is not going to end well. And they'll look at you like you're insane. Even if they're experiencing a terrible relational dynamic, right? So sometimes when we have friends, and again, we can be the best of friends, we're inspiring, we're empowering, we're motivating, we're educating, right? All of that, right? But if they're not ready, they're not going to get it, right? And so what I do, so my circle is really tight, right? I have 3 friends, good friends, that pour into me, and I pour into them, right? I can have conversations with hundreds of other people at the gym, at church, at work, conversations, right? We're exchanging ideas. If I have to pour into you, right? But I'm very selective with who I allow to pour into me, because I understand how important it is to protect and preserve all of this. My mind, my body, my spirit, right? And so what I do with friends or anyone who seeks advice from me, I make sure you're ready to hear what I'm about to share with you. Because if you're not, words are powerful. I can't afford to waste them. Right? So I'm not going to be frustrated. Even clients, when I used to do mental health counseling, right? Early in my career. If I was counseling someone and I realized that they were just looking for a crutch, we can't work together. You're not ready. Because what's important to you right now, I'm not going to give it to you. And unless you're ready to get there, even if you don't know how, that's why you have me. But if you're not ready, maybe you need to have another bad relationship. That's just the reality of it.
And that's why mental health professionals most of the times will get burnout.
Right.
Because you're constantly hearing this.
They don't know when to quit.
Yeah.
They don't know when to let a client go because they're getting paid. I'm not about that. It's not about the money. Yes, I love the money, but I want you to get better. Which is why, like, my programs now, 6 weeks, 12 weeks. You're not improving, maybe we're not a good match. That's just what it is, right? And so if you're not ready for the change, I can't make you ready. I can't. And the same goes with friends. If we having a conversation constantly, same conversation every day, you're complaining about the same thing, what are you doing?
Especially when you're trying to heal yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're trying to be a friend to that person, but you have your own stuff going on.
Right.
So it's like,
So we have to allow people, give them the freedom and the space to pick themselves up. You can't heal somebody else. And you cannot afford to carry somebody else. You don't have that strength, right? And you cannot sacrifice yourself for somebody else. You don't have unlimited mental resources, physical resources, spiritual resources. You don't have unlimited.
But you know what, Mo?
Yes.
I think based on what you're saying, we need to encourage support groups.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times we don't have an opportunity to do exactly what you said,
Right.
because we need that collective that you spoke about
Mhm.
earlier just to lean on sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's just like right now you're listening to what we're saying,
Right.
what we feel. And I think Fraxter should look into creating, perhaps with you, some support groups.
Yeah, so I have a mentorship program,
Okay.
right? So after you go through my programs, then you're part of the mentorship group,
Oh, right.
right? Automatically, right? So, but here's the thing, though, right? That's a good point. Here's the thing. A lot of people, right? A lot of people know they need help.
They don't know where to get it.
They don't know where to get it, right? Or they're afraid to get it
Yes.
because they don't know what it's going to look like. Because change is scary. Scary, right? But even with that, we still have to give people the space to grow. Because if you covering and shielding a plant from getting sun, guess what? It's gonna die. Right? And it goes the same for people. If you keep protecting people from going through certain experiences, you're hurting them. I have a mentee, right? Had a mentee. His mom called me, 19 years old, man. They didn't know how to interact with him, right? He was going down a path and depressed at some point, right? Because I told him I'm not doing counseling, I'm doing coaching, right? So his mom said, I want you to help him. He's a good kid. He just needs help. Great, no problem. Met with him, right? First time, great conversation. Got to understand, learn a lot about him. Second time, I reach out again. Great conversation. Third time, told him to reach out. He didn't, right? I let it go. Fourth time, I reached out. So now I'm establishing boundaries. What value do you see in this? Because if you don't see value in it, we're wasting our time. Right? So I had a tough conversation with that kid to let him know, listen, I am here to help you. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm doing your mom a favor, and I'm happy to do it. But if you know you're not ready, it's just going to be a waste of time. And you're going to be annoyed with me. And I said, look, this is the last meeting we're going to have. But when you're ready, I'm here. When you're ready, call me. I'm available, right? So we have to, again, giving people the freedom and the space to grow means letting people go. But still let them know I'm here, right? If you need me, I'll come running, but I'm not chasing you, right? Because when you get into the habit of chasing people, guess what? You become that crutch. Friends, family, children, right? So establish your value. Establish your value in their eyes. And if they can't see it, they're not ready. Or they don't need it. They don't want it, right?
And people can get, for lack of a better word, addicted to the chase.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't even want to speak with you anymore. It's just, wait a minute. Why am I still being called for 5 days?
That's true.
And that's when the random text comes and you reply, then they disappear.
Yep. Yep.
It's like, or a person who doesn't really care to know how you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if they care, they'll pick up the phone.
Right.
But it's just the habitual, the irrelevant conversation is addictive to them. So, because I see, like, even my mother on the phone, my mother has people on the phone she's speaking with, all she goes is, like, Mommy, you're watching TV, tell them you're busy. Oh, no, I don't want to be rude. I think she just feels validated.
Right.
Just from them calling her.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Right.
But that's one of the things with Fraxo also we work on is changing mindset.
Right.
Okay, what doesn't serve you anymore? And this is part of our education process, helping you to change yourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
but it's that understanding that sometimes
but
what
it
he's
takes
saying
time.
is
Yeah.
cutting the person off, unfortunately.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right. So it's different, right?
ignoring it.
Right. So having an organization is different because you want people to come to you, and even if you reach out, right, then if they're ready, they know where to find you.
Right.
Whereas personal relationship is different because again, you get that sense of comfort. You're always accessible, and people take advantage of whatever's accessible, right? So again, boundaries. People don't have access to me all the time, right? Not because I think I'm super important, but because I know I don't have unlimited time and resources to waste, right? So when you let people go, you're not being mean. You're protecting yourself and them too, because you may get into a space where, you know what, you get pissed off at them. Not worth it, right? And so we have to again understand, what do we want to experience, whether it's your personal life, whether it's professional life, whether it's your relationship with your children, your spouse, your friends. What do you want to experience? I have these two programs. One is called Designing His Superpower Life for men and Designing Her Superpower Life for women, right? And so for 6 or 12 weeks, depending on the path you choose, we go over different topics: self-leadership, right? So self-ownership and understanding who you are as a person. What is your value? Understanding what your name carries. Because sometimes we just see us as just being existed. There's more to it. Because when you can find purpose and meaning in your own life, guess what? You also give purpose to everything and everyone around you. Because you become a teacher to people who interact with you. And you can be a teacher in a simple interaction and conversation. You just have to add meaning to it. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down under mind. Okay, under mind. I want you to write down one thing you're going to do to protect your mind this upcoming week.
What are you going to do to protect your mind?
Your mind, yep. And again, we're talking about energy, your values, what aligns with you, right? One thing you're going to do, you're going to commit to doing for your mind this week. And again, make it concrete, right? I'm going to sit for 5 minutes and meditate, right? Or just sitting with myself and just rediscover who I am, what I value in my life. And analyze what aligns with your spirit. Maybe you may have to let some friends go, because every time you talk to them, you don't feel great because you just feel depleted, right? Under body. I want you to write one thing you're going to do for your physical health. Could be taking a 15 minutes walk, right? Could be changing one meal, right? Could be drinking water instead of soda, whatever. One thing that you're gonna do. And under your spirit, what is one belief you're gonna change? One thing about you, one thing about your environment, your circumstance, your relationships. What is one thing you're gonna change to improve your spiritual health? So in closing, the way we feel in our lives is not random, right? It's a practice, it's the results of our actions, our habits, our thoughts, our beliefs every single day. So, your mind influences your body influences your behavior, how you feel, right? And those things influence your spirit, and your spirit influence your motivation, your values, who you are, and everything you believe about yourself. So, thank you for access. It's a pleasure.
All right.
Always to be here. So
You
thank
are
so much.
amazing.
Ah,
Thank you much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I do hope that everyone got something out of this today. Flaxer is here for you. More programmings like this is coming. Please, when you get those tags, when you get those emails, sign up, register. It's better in person because you get to ask the questions, you get to get the answers. So once again, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Mark. You guys are just amazing. I do hope that everyone who heard all of the information today can apply it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Pierre as your broker, because he is probably the best broker that you would want to meet. And of course, Mark, for all of your health needs, your mind needs, your spirit needs, your body needs. Mark is the one. Well, thanks again. And for my team, Flaxer team, you guys are amazing. Go, Marco, Phil, Milto. Thank you. You guys are amazing. And let's just keep doing this for the people.